Three buildings sit in the middle of downtown Arlington. The Catholic Church, an old rectory, and behind them a little structure seemingly meant for storage or small gatherings. 2 years ago, two women breathed life into these abandoned buildings, making them into a well-loved community hub for art, play, exercise, and so much more. And we sat down with Bebe Bullock and Carol Farley to discuss the successes, the response from the community, and the future of this very cool situation.
To think we've only been around for 2 years and all the things that have happened in even just a year from what we did last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe what's happened and how many people have helped us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I frequently have been thinking, how it's finally taken on a life of its own. I mean, for the first year, we were all like trying to kind of, who are we? And now people are just starting to do things. We were just saying somebody's taking on doing a lot of programming and she's comfortable in the building, and so she'll do it.
Yeah.
People in the community now are like, I want to actually be a part of it and make it better and bigger. And
right.
So.
And we got a very generous donation to be able to pay an executive director part-time. It's a year donation, so that's been exciting, but then
we do lie in bed at night thinking, if we can't fund her next year, what will we do? Because that's been actually, having her has been a huge step forward for us, because again, there was a small group of volunteer people that none of us could have kept on going, but because we were able to have her and hire her, it's turned things around. It's made things so that we've built our capacity.
We've had two fly fishing festivals that are 3-day long festivals, bringing fly fishermen and non-fly fisher angler people from all over the place. They've come from
the country,
Canada, and then we have speakers, we have fly tying workshops, we have music, we have a beer tent, we have all sorts of just art, tons of stuff.
Yeah, art, and that is really fun. I mean, that's been really, that's our biggest, really our only fundraiser and our biggest fundraiser. And I mean, we have one of our board members is sort of completely plugged into that whole, which has been great because he's done such an amazing job pulling it together. I mean, it's just, we're lucky that we have somebody who can do that. The whole community's been involved in terms of like the fire department has the volunteers and the Boy Scouts volunteers and the school lets us use their van. And I mean, there are a lot of different ways in which the community also has been a part of it. So yeah. It's been really nice.
And then that money that we raised from the Fly Fishing Festival, we hope will cover electricity and heat for the year. That's the goal. Yeah. We haven't met it yet, but that's the goal.
This Christmas we had Don Trachty. His father was an artist with Norman Rockwell, so his father collected Christmas cards and drew them. He was an illustrator, thank you. And so he drew them, and he had all these cards from other artists who lived in Arlington at the time, and it was a really cool exhibit. It was multimedia, yeah. And Don spent a lot of time on it. And so we had a series of Christmas events around it.
Yeah, seeing the garden club ladies and the Boy Scouts decorating this whole building for Christmas. It's just like a special, I have a mental picture of this one young boy and this older lady who are doing this whole tree together, and it was like the sweetest picture ever. And they had their Boy Scout uniforms on. Yeah. It was amazing.
So that was, and then I think that the parking lot party, we've had two. 2 summers ago we had one, and it was just really fun. It was a community. We had a band who donated their time it was free, and a lot of community members, and it was just a lot of fun. And then this year we had one again. It was a little bit different. It was a fundraiser for flood relief, and we had a band who was from out of town who was actually playing at the OWN Festival at the West Mountain Inn, and they came, and that was a different kind of thing, but it was fun, and it was outside, and it was a fundraiser, and that was a lot of fun too. The last event we had, which was really fun, was the Norman Rockwell Models reunion that just happened 2 weekends ago. So we had about 100 people who came, and I would say 50 of them, 25 of them were Norman Rockwell models. There are not that many left because the people who are children and modeled from are in their 70s. So there are fewer and fewer. And so that was really interesting. They all came, they all reminisced, and we couldn't have done it without, I mean, every aspect of the community has been incredibly supportive.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no way we could be.
Yeah. The select board has been amazing. They've been so helpful. And like people just show up and help. Like there's this really nice man, Jim, who he was playing pickleball and he's like, your garage, the trim needs to be painted. He goes, I'll just come over and paint it. And he now has painted almost the whole thing. Today he was nailing down the roofing. But stuff like that happens all the time, and we just feel so like blessed that people have been so kind. Yeah, the garden club does our, helps us with our flowers. That just everybody helps out.
The Boy Scouts come every time we call them. They come. So like if we're setting up for an event, we need the leaves raked, we need somebody to do coffee. Like they will come. It's really nice.
I mean, someone just showed up today to help nail down the ballet floor.
I mean, I'd like to just see it continue to become a more and more vibrant part of the community. And I do think it's like seeing it take on a life of its own so that people come, they have a vision for something they want to do and they can do it. We have an event that's coming up and a woman was like, I have all these ideas and I'd like to do them. And we were like, great.
Yeah. And I personally would love to see the buildings restored to their glory in a financially conservative, savvy way. But just so that the buildings are secure, we aren't ADA accessible yet. We're not insulated. There's lots of things that make the buildings expensive to run, but also they're gorgeous in their own way, but they all are going to need a lot of help. This is a 1900s building, and it needs a little TLC.
To learn more about the Arlington Commons and their upcoming events, visit arlingtoncommon.org.